Have you ever wanted to learn how to improve your oral health? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragushia, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode today, I'm going to talk to you about all things oral health. Yes, the link of oral health with overall health is going to be included in that. But first of all, I'm going to go and talk about this special tea that you've probably heard about. Green tea. I'm going to go into history of that. Then how green tea may be able to improve your oral health. And then 3 tips to improve your oral health. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a health and success oriented community by clicking below and joining the Natural Health newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast. We bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Absolutely love, and appreciate your support. On Mondays, I'm here to provide you with simple, savvy, and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health. Let's get into today's episode. It's going to be a crazy one. Wow, I just realized, I don't know if you're watching, but I'm wearing a green top that has all leaves on it, and I've got all greenery around me. It's kind of like I'm blending in. Anyway, let's talk about today and talk about green tea. What is green tea? Why am I even talking about green tea? Well, if I'm talking about oral health and I'm talking about the secret to improving your oral health, I think I've already given it away. It's green tea. All right, let's look into, first of all, what green tea is, right? Green tea is actually one of the most popular beverages in the world and has received considerable attention because of the many scientifically proven benefits on human health. There's been so many research studies out there saying how green tea can assist, right? Can assist with so many things. I'm going to go into a few of them soon. So the tea plant is believed to actually have originated in the landmass of Tibet. Wow, I absolutely love to visit there. If you've been, let me know how it's been there. Which is in Western China, Northern India. According to ancient Chinese legend, this tea was discovered by a Chinese empire called Shen Nung in 2737 BC. When the leaves from the wild tea bush accidentally fell into a pot of water that he was boiling. What an amazing discovery. I mean, what leaf are going to fall into my boiling hot water randomly, and I'm going to be like, I discovered this tea. That is absolutely amazing. So the drink name derives from the Chinese Amoy dialect word te, pronounced as tay, which then developed into the fine art today, cha, meaning tea in Chinese, and this word moved westwards into the Middle East languages. It sometimes can be altered to chai. And it's interesting because in my tradition, we call it chai. Tea is chai. Any type. It's not just the chai, the spiced chai latte. Chai means tea. It's so interesting, isn't it? I love looking into the history of meanings and so forth. But what makes this chai, this tea, this green chai, so special? Well, actually, the active compounds in green tea are from a group of polyphenols. I've blabbed on about polyphenols and how amazing they are, called catechins. 4 catechins present the green tea are epicatechin gallets, which is ECG. Oh, these words I'm never going to pronounce. There's not even a point. I'm just going to put them up here. If you're watching the video, you'll be able to see what they are. But essentially, E, G, CG, and ECG are one or two of them, and there's other ones. Can't pronounce them. Epigallocatechin, anything along those lines. Anyway, so these are the 4 polyphenols which actually give the active compounds. These are the active compounds found in green tea, and this is what the research has been put on, and this is what the research is coming out, that it's affecting so many things such as oral health. But green tea also contains carotenoids, tocophenols, absorbic acid, and minerals like chromium, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. Like, how amazing is that? So even though there's all this talk about, I don't want to have green tea contains caffeine, and yes, it is true, it does contain caffeine, although half of that found in coffee, right? So it doesn't contain a lot of caffeine. The amount of caffeine in a cup of green tea will vary depending on the amount of tea used, but also the length of time that you've infused it. The longer you infuse it, the more tea leaves you use, the more greater the caffeine is in it, which makes sense, right? So now that you know a little bit about green tea, the history about the chai, the tea, I love that, the polyphenols found in it, let's look into how green tea helps with your oral health. So this research study that I found, they've actually said that several epidemiological and experimental observations have confirmed that there is a close relationship between green tea consumption and the prevention of both cancer development and cardiovascular disease. The effects have been largely attributed to the most prevalent polyphenol contained in green tea, which is what I spoke about, the EGCG, right? So this ECG is known to induce apoptosis in various types of tumor cells, but also has little or no effect on normal cells, right? But now, how does that help our oral health, right? Well, apparently, they've said that several studies have shown that there's an inhibitory effect of this catechin contained in green tea on periodontal pathogens. What are periodontal pathogens? It's kind of like these little monsters in our mouth that are just like destroying our mouth, destroying our oral microbiota. But essentially, it's kind of like we talk a lot about gut microbes, right? And having the right balance in our gut. But there is that everywhere in our body. There's the vaginal microbiota, there is the gut microbiota, there's the oral microbiota. There's different types. There needs to be a balance of good and bad. Bugs, bacteria in our mouth, as well as in our gut, as well as in other parts of our body. So essentially what this is saying, this study, is that this polyphenol found in green tea has actually shown a beneficial effect, right? So green tea, these polyphenols, catechin, inhibit the growth of P. genivalis, right? Which is and all these other ones, Preventol intermedia and Provetola niggericea, and adherence of P. genivalis on the human buccal cells. Essentially, all right, big names, big bacteria, clearly I can't pronounce it, but essentially what this is saying is that green tea is going to reduce the amount of these bacteria that cause issues in our mouth. Simple terms, right? So green tea balances these bacteria in our mouth, but also inhibits the growth of these so-called bad, if you want to even call them bad, bacteria in our mouth, right? Which is absolutely amazing. And then it also goes into a little bit more detail. It says green tea catechins with serotonin structures of 3-gallophyl radical EGCG, ECG, and gallocatechin gallate, which I couldn't pronounce earlier, but apparently now I can, which are major tea polyphenols, inhibit production of toxic end metabolites of P. genivalis, which gives us gingivitis in our mouth. A study showed that green tea, and they inhibit it, right? Which is absolutely amazing. So not only does green tea assist with all of these cardiovascular things that I was mentioned about before, and the development of cancer and how that works, it works through the mitochondria releasing oxygen, which is converted into hydrogen peroxide, and then it turns into reactive oxygen species. Long story, I probably should do another episode on that. But essentially, going back to how green tea helps with our dental health and our oral health is by inhibiting the growth of this bad bacteria, which is absolutely amazing. So think about that. So that not only helps our oral health, helps our teeth, it helps our gums, but also some individuals that suffer from bad breath, it also assists with that. What you need to know is you need to have a balance of bacteria in your mouth, in your gut, and other parts of our body. There needs to be a balance. You can't have too many good, you can't have too many bad. It needs to be a total balance of that. And something as simple as green tea may assist with your oral health. Let's look into 3 tips to improve your oral health. So essentially, well, one of the clearest things to do is drink green tea, right? Sounds a bit crazy and absurd, but there you go. Drink freshly brewed tea. Consuming, depending on if you want to have it decaffeinated or caffeinated, depending on what suits your body and what suits your lifestyle, but drinking green tea. And I'm going to talk about tomorrow, I think I'm going to drop an episode where we're going to talk about how to choose the right green tea, so stay tuned. Second one is green tea mouthwash, right? Hey, I don't even know if it's out there, but why not? Why not, like, you know, if you're having, think about this, right? If you're going to make yourself a green tea in the morning, you make a little bit extra and you use that as a mouthwash and get rid of it, and then the rest you consume. So you're also soaking in all of your oral gums, teeth, and making a mouthwash out of it. I'm going to try that. I'm actually going to try that. I think that sounds amazing. I mean, looking at the research, green tea is absolutely amazing. I'm gonna start drinking it again. I used to drink it all the time, but using a mouthwash is absolutely amazing. I can't believe I just came up with that, but hey, let's do it. And the third one is using EGCG supplement if needed and required, after touching base with your healthcare professional if this is something that suits your lifestyle and your current goals. But there you have it, right? We spoke about oral health, and talking about oral health, the last thing you think I'll talk about is green tea, yeah? But an interesting fact is when individuals go out drinking, so they have vodka, beer, whatever, the next day they should have green tea, not only for the reactive oxygen species created by the alcohol to reduce them, but also to balance that bacteria in your mouth which has been killed by the alcohol. So there you have it, talking all things oral health today with you and talking about green tea. I hope if you have any questions about anything, feel free to touch base with me. If you know someone who'll benefit from this episode, please feel free to share with them. And if you want bonuses, if you want all of this type of information dropped into your inbox every Friday, what do? You click below and join the Natural Health newsletter. Remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in educational content.